Thank you everybody for taking the time to listen to this video right now. My name is Corwin Watson. You may know me. For those who do know me, I run a podcast called the Rebuilding Us Podcast, which you can find on all of your social media platforms. In addition, I am the proud author of the new book, Road to Nowhere, which you can find on Amazon or on my website at rebuildingus.com. But what we're talking about today here, I am a proud inventor of a new product called the electronic tech table. The reason why I invented the electronic tech table, as an entrepreneur myself who ran a locksmith company for many years, who's also a disabled veteran, I had issues with my back, and I knew other service technicians who also had issues, physical ailments that prevented them from getting their tools from one location to the next. And when they did, they used tables that wasn't the best for completing the job in a very proficient manner. After sitting around and thinking about a new product that would make the lives of these technicians easier, I decided on the product. I went to the drawing table and created the electronic tech table. This table was designed for technicians to be able to efficiently move their tools in a storage container out of their vehicle that rode along a track system and would allow them to have all of the electronic features that they would need, additional power source, which had a built-in inverter, to allow them to keep their batteries charged, keep their phone charged, listen to music, and get through their day a lot easier than they were before. Once they were done with their table, when they were done with their job, they were able to take that cart, roll it on the back of their vehicle, it would lock in place on their track system, and it would recharge their table to give them another 8 to 12 hours the following day. I decided to go ahead and file for my provisional patent, and from there, I began to look for companies that would potentially build this for me. So after doing my review, doing some research on companies that I can partner with to create the electronic tech table, I contacted the company Davison Inc., based out of Pennsylvania. I spoke with the project manager at Davison, and I was very pleased with the responses that I was getting and the company's history. But in doing some of that research while also talking to him, I discovered some not so pleasing reviews about the company. Several people who had done business with them in the past had a lot of negative responses to how they handled their products, the time management, some expectations that they didn't meet. And those things were very concerning to me. I took those responses and I questioned the project manager about them. And to my satisfaction, he answered them. And because of my experience in customer service, I knew that a lot of it had to do with managing expectations, and then sometimes we as customers can have some unreasonable expectations. But I felt that his answers were satisfactory, so I decided to go ahead and partner with Davison to complete the project. Now, what was my experience with Davison after choosing them to be the company to ultimately build my product? Well, less than favorable. From the very beginning, with all the phone calls, and they were very timely and attentive to my needs, addressing any concerns that I had, because I continued to look into reviews, and it was unsettling at best. But I was already locked in and had already signed my contract. And after a period of time, my phone calls went ignored. My emails no longer was responded to. Many times I had to go above my project manager, who was responsible for my project, and go to his supervisor, as well as the office of the presidency, all with no response. If I would call them, it would take weeks before they responded. I continuously demanded that they respond to my email, that you provide documentation of the progress that you have made. They required over 60% upfront, and they would not continue throughout the process until they had the remaining portion. So I had paid them in total for the product build $18,000. not to mention the additional money for research and development for a grand total of over $20,000 I paid this company. As you can imagine, it began to wear on me. I became very frustrated, but I never lost my professionalism when I would engage with them because I didn't want to give them a reason not to continue to work on my project. I worked with Davison for over a year and a half before I saw anything. They would continue to send me photos of pictures that I had already sent them. I had sent them the initial 2D drawings. I sent them 2D drawings or 3D drawings. I sent them CAD drawings that I had previously done. And it got to the point where they were literally sending me the same information with a change of name, with their name on it, back to me. So I became frustrated, and at one point I decided I'm going to hire an attorney. I want to get out of this contract. Well, that attorney, after sending a letter to Davison demanding that they respond within a matter of days because we were going to bring a lawsuit, he disappeared. So as you can imagine, I felt hopeless, but I continued to press on. I persevered through a lot in my life, so I wasn't going to allow this to defeat me. So I continued on, and I responded to Davison again. I continuously wrote emails, and I continuously called, hoping for a response. Eventually, they responded back to continue with the process, and I finally got a notice that they were finally done with my project after a year and a half. After notifying me that they had completed my project, they sent me what is called an executive summary book. In that executive summary book, it outlined, it showed some of the pictures that they had already sent me, the drawings and some CAD drawings that would be necessary for you to take to manufacturing. But I noticed in those CAD drawings that the measurements were very small. And I was hoping that it was a mistake, or maybe it was just for some sort of smaller drawing that they was doing for a model. Well, after taking those measurements to another engineering company to ultimately determine what it was going to cost me to build this thing out, I discovered that the measurements they had was the size to fit on top of a desk. And it was not to scale. It was not the intended product that I had paid them for. I was hoping this engineer was joking, but in fact he wasn't. Davison sent me my actual products approximately 3 weeks later after I had received the booklet. And when I opened that door to see the delivery driver holding my electronic tech table, the table that was intended for service personnel to roll around job sites, to carry their tools in, this was the strongest delivery person in the world because he was carrying my tech table. But in fact, it wasn't to scale. It wasn't the product that I expected to get. The coolest thing about this whole thing is the display case. And it is the most expensive part of this project, a display case found on Amazon for $64.99. I was that outraged that I researched the display box because it had cute lights. But the product, holding it in your hand, it was obviously 3D printed, and it wasn't done very well. Not only was it 3D printed and not done with, but there's a wheel that's broken off. They didn't care enough to even package the so-called electronic tech table and packaging that wouldn't allow it to be damaged in process. When Davison told me that they were finished with my project, I immediately wrote them and I explained to them that I wanted no other dealings with the company. I wanted to bring the tech table to market, and I wouldn't be doing any business with them. I no longer was seeking a licensing deal, and that was part of the contract that they were responsible for doing. But from all of our experience, I didn't want to do any business. So I asked them to send the tech table. They sent over a form saying that I needed to fill it out, and this was a liability waiver because they were going to be shipping it. So I requested again, let me pick it up. I was prepared to get a truck and drive to Pennsylvania and pick up my product. If it was going to be damaged, I wanted it to be on my watch. but my email, my phone calls went ignored. Even up to the office of the presidency never returned my call. And when the supervisor finally returned my call, if I missed it, in fact, I did miss that call, and call him right back, I was not able to get a hold of him. And he never answered the phone again. This is the type of experience that I had with this company. Even after sending this product, at no time did they call and ask how I felt about it. At no time did they ensure that I actually received it or it didn't go to somewhere else. Customer service is not something that's clearly a part of their company motto. It's not something that they pride themselves on. So as a result, now I am stuck with this piece of plastic with a broken wheel and a cracked glass. And so now I have to get this product manufactured again. I spoke with another engineering company, and they can build it, but in fact, it's going to cost more money because we are starting from scratch. So Davison finally completed the tech table. And after still phone calls and emails going unanswered, I finally received my product in the mail, and this is what I received. I wrote Davison, and I made phone calls explaining to them, hoping that this was not the product that they intended to send, that they still, in fact, was holding on to the scale-to-scale model of my electronic tech table. But those emails and those phone calls have still gone unanswered, and this is what I'm left with. A hunk of plastic with a broken wheel and a display case from Amazon. So why am I here? I'm here today because I'm asking for your support, to support me on this endeavor to rebuild the electronic tech table, to help those who I intended to help in the beginning, those people who suffer from these ailments, physical ailments, that work in the service department and they have to work. And if we can make their lives a little easier, that's what I want to do. And I'm hoping that you can support me on those, for those veterans, for those people who have been in the service industry for a very long time. That's why I need your support, to help redesign the tech table. So what is it going to cost to redesign and rebuild this thing? After speaking with a number of manufacturing companies, the estimated cost is around $50,000 to redesign and to produce the first prototype, working prototype, necessary to duplicate and bring to market. Please reach out to me. I will respond back and show you how you can help support the redevelopment of the electronic tech table. Some things that I've learned along the way. First, you need a team, and that's what I've been doing, establishing a team who can assist me in the areas that I wasn't so strong in. People who understand the manufacturing process, engineers, mechanical and electrical engineers, product development. Understanding so this doesn't happen to anybody again, to do your due diligence. Read those reviews, understand your contract. Make sure you speak with an attorney about your contract prior to signing, so you understand the expectations of what you're getting and that you voice those concerns with the company that is designing your product. And those are the things that I'm doing with the new engineering company. I want to make sure that the language is spelled out in the contract, what I'm actually getting, and that meets my expectations prior to me signing. And only when you arm yourself with that information can you avoid situations like this. There are a lot of people who have dealt with Davison who are all over the internet, on Better Business Bureau, who are complaining of the same kind of incidences. This should not happen. And so moving forward, this is what I'm doing to arm myself against this ever happening again. And I hope that others do the same. So if you want to reach out, you want to support, please send me a message on one of the social media sites. So I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this video. And I hope that you can feel my frustration, but I hope that you understand my passion and my desire to make sure that this product comes to market. And I hope that you feel the passion that I have behind this product and how beneficial it can be to those who can truly use it, those disabled veterans, those who have physical ailments. And I just want to thank you right now. And for any support that you may find it in your heart to give, even if it's just sharing this video and liking it, I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. I thank you.